Hey guys, how are you today? So today we're going to address the issue of the vagina. It doesn't matter what you call it, okay? But whatever you call it, that's what we're talking about today. First, I will start by addressing how you clean it. Like I said, it's like a self-cleaning oven, okay? There is nothing special that needs to go into cleaning it. Nothing literally needs to go in to clean it. You just basically need to clean it with water. Okay? The most you need to do is clean the outside, separate the labia, clean around the labia, but do not put your fingers inside in the pretense or with the idea that you want to clean the inside. Okay? That's how you get infections. It doesn't matter how how clean your hands are. Okay? Second of all, depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, your vaginal discharge would be different. Sometimes it's whitish and thicker, okay? So other times, especially when you're ovulating, it's clearer and more drawy, okay? But like I said, depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle will determine what your vaginal discharge look like. But at no point should it be smelly. At no point should it be itchy. Okay? So if it's itchy and smelly, then you may have an infection. At that point, you may be talking to a doctor to see about testing you first to see what type of infection you have. Okay? And at other times, it may just be to change what you're doing. Now, sometimes the detergent or the soap you use to wash your underwear can affect the smell of your vaginal discharge. That when it starts to smell, you may want to think if it's the change in either your soap or your detergent. But once it starts to itch down there, you have a situation, sister. Okay? Now, moving on to how not to clean your vagina. Douching, intimate washes, squeaky clean washes, I don't care what you call it. But the point is, the vagina, why it's called, it seems like a self-cleaning oven, because there are organisms, natural occurring organisms in and around your vagina, that the only job they have in their entire life as organisms is to ensure that your vagina stays clean. Okay? And for them to exist happily and do their jobs, the pH of your vagina has to stay as normal. Basically, if I say this now, they'll say something else. Between 4 to 4.5. Okay? But that does not mean you need to help it to be normal pH. Those organisms, when you don't bother them, they will do their works perfectly. And by that, if you must take prebiotics, probiotics, it goes in your mouth. It doesn't go in your vagina, auntie. Okay? When you complain that you need to balance the pH of your vagina after you've had sex, first of all, like I said, I can't say this enough. The vagina cleans itself. You don't need help. It doesn't need help to balance the pH, even when there is semen in there. If you're so concerned about the pH of your vagina, put a condom on. Okay? If you're worried about something else, really put a condom on. I think this is a mature audience that, now that I'm saying that, I'm having a rethink that I didn't think we needed to discuss safe sexual practices, but I think we may have to. In any case, there is nothing you can do. Do not try anything to reduce or restore the pH of your vagina after sex. Okay? Anything that is being sold to you or recommended to you to maintain pH. They're just using it to sell markets. Okay? No eggs of any form. It doesn't matter what you call it. Give it all the fancy name you want to call it. It shouldn't be going into your vagina. There is no harmony that it needs to be restoring. Okay? Nothing at all. Nothing needs to get into your vagina and spend 3 days there. Hell, nothing even needs to spend a day in your vagina if you're not treating yeast infection. And even that doesn't spend a day. Put it overnight, by next morning you wash off. Because all these things you are putting in your vagina that is staying 3 days, whether call it eggs, cleansing bags, cleansing uterus, detox, vaginal detox, that's how you get infections. That's how you get into having fertility problems. Because once those infections are not recognized and treated appropriately, it can ascend and block your tubes. More especially, you could die from the toxin if it causes a severe infection. I am trying so hard not to have to yell, but I don't understand, how did we get to this point that we have come to almost a desperate place to cleanse everything? Speaking of, next thing we're talking about is vaginal steaming. It's not malaria. You're not using abo to cure it. Don't do it. Stop. Okay? Don't do it. Sitz bath has its place. And that's usually around when you've had a baby. I understand that vaginal steaming were done in the past. Okay? Even all of these things that people are trying to put into their vaginas were done in the past. But guess what? Some people died. It's the same argument people make about vaccines. Oh, what did we do before we got vaccines? Well, let me tell you, people died. Okay? So ask your parents. There is a reason their mortality rates were higher. And as fertile as they were, where some families have like 7, 8 children, ask them, they will tell you about many more pregnancies that they lost. Okay? And I understand there was a particular celebrity who posted a picture of herself doing trying a vaginal steaming. But what she failed to say was that was a little after she had her baby. So was she really doing a vaginal steaming, or was she doing a sitz bath? So you see the problem in taking the, I don't want to say irresponsible journalism, but in taking the words of celebrities and running with it, because you don't know what has gone on behind the scenes. Okay? So let me say it clearly. Vaginal steaming has not been shown to have any medical benefits. None. It is near impossible to let those herbs that they put inside it to seep through your vagina, let alone get into your uterus to effect any benefit to you. Depending on how hot the steaming fluid temperature you're using, you may basically burn your clitoris, and there goes your pleasure. So is it really worth it? But let me say it again. There is no medical benefit or any benefit at all that has been shown, medically or otherwise, in doing vaginal steaming. Take that to the bank. Okay? If you've had a baby, vaginal delivery, and yes, sitz bath have been shown to be helpful because it helps get more blood flow around the vaginal area to help you heal, especially for those who have a tear during vaginal deliveries. Okay? Now, vaginal cleansers. Have I addressed that already? Probably, but let me say it again. You're not cleansing anything. Okay? You're not. It's not beneficial all you're doing is causing yourself more harm. And the thing about it is, the more you do all this, even when you do a one-time douche, now you have upset the balance in your vagina. The microorganisms, the organisms that I've talked about that are supposed to be helpful in protecting your vagina, are now destabilized, that you now start to feel dry unnecessarily. And then because of the dryness, you start to have a lot of friction. And then from there, you start to itch, and then you make a hole, and then you get an infection, and then it seems like you have an infection when you really didn't have an infection in the first place. You see how this is like a vicious cycle? That you're better off leaving it alone. I'm trying to make sure I cover everything because there was a list. Now, even if, and all that I'm addressing is, it cuts across, because I understand the vaginal steaming helps with this. They say it helps with menstrual cramps and menstrual pain and the flow. No, it doesn't. If you need to steam, yes, you can apply a hot pad to your abdomen. It can help with the menstrual cramping when you do have cramping. You can apply it to your back. It can help. But as far as trying to steam your vagina to achieve the same thing, it's an effort in futility. It's not going to be helpful. And at worst, it's very risky. Okay? And none of this, I'm not sure what to call them, these things, cleansers, detox, abolumo, let's just put all the names together. Eggs. If I call them now, they will come for me. None of them needs to be going into your vagina, darling. Okay? I am going to stop here just so I don't keep going on and on, because I am trying to contain my emotion, because this is a problem. And I hate to think of the reason why people would sell these things to other people, knowing that it's not beneficial, and at worst, it's harmful to them. But for whatever reason, at least when you educate yourself, now you know the right information, you can at least protect yourself from falling victim. And that's why I keep saying, bring your neighbor. It's not so that I'll grow in popularity, but it's because these things, though they might seem basic, but many more people need to hear it. Okay? So, ask me any questions you want, either in the comment section or go into my DM and ask, and I'll answer them directly. But I cannot say it enough. Only water is what you need to wash your vagina. Do not put it inside. Do not put your fingers inside. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Well, I put a comment in the description of one of the tags, so go read it there. But don't put any form of eggs or nothing else. And dear sister, you don't need to alter or try to affect the pH of your vagina after you've had sex. Using a condom would help, that you won't run into that problem at all. Okay? And if you're doing intimate wash, there isn't any intimate wash that is strong enough to wash out the sperm, so you can still get pregnant, except you're open to that. Okay? I'll see you guys later. I still have this cold. I don't like it anymore. I want my voice back, and I think this is the last I can tolerate it. But in any case, I hope you guys heard me, and I'll catch you around. Have a good day.